Today we will discuss a test which is of transportation. It is a test of aggregate material. The main title of the test is impact value of aggregate. An impact test is a method used to evaluate the resistance of a material to impact loading, which involves a sudden high force application of energy. The test measures the material's ability to absorb energy without breaking. This test mainly covers the determination of the toughness of aggregate. Now we will move further. Here is the title: an experiment to determine the impact value of aggregate and to ascertain suitability in road construction on the basis of impact value. This is our apparatus. Here we have the hammer whose weight is 14 kg, 13.5 to 14 kg. Here we have the lifting handle, and then we have the circular base, and here is the pot which in which we pour or we have the aggregate to be tested. The diameter, or we can say the diameter of the hammer is 38. The diameter of the hammer is 100 millimeter, and the height of this hammer which has to be fallen on the aggregate is 38 centimeter, that it has to be freely fall from at a height of 38 centimeter. This is the parts of the apparatus, or we can say the components of the apparatus. And here is the counter, or we can say it counts the number of blows we target the hammer on the aggregate. Theoretical background. Now this theoretical background covers that how much efficient, or we can say how much good aggregate should be to be used in suitable areas of road construction, or we have concrete material, etc. Aggregate should be sufficiently strong to bear traffic loads without crushing. Comparatively stronger are used in upper layers in road structure. We can see this part applicable to the road construction, that the aggregates should be as strong that it should bear the traffic load of the heavy vehicles, or the transport which has to be roll on that specific road. Strength test is a British standard test and is not included in NHS specifications. Number 2, sustain impact loading due to moving vehicles during service period. This ability is known as toughness. This test is a British standard test. Though it is not required under NHS specifications, it has been included for learning purposes. Now here is the need to have a clear view of what is hardness and what is toughness. Hardness is generally related or focuses on surface resistance, while toughness focuses on bulk resistance. Hardness measures resistance to indentation, while toughness measures resistance to fracture. At the last, we have hardness is typically measured under static loads, while the toughness is measured under dynamic loads, which is also known as impact. Sustain impact loading due to moving vehicles during service period. This ability is known as toughness. This test is a British standard test. Though it is not required under NHS specification, it has been included for learning purposes. Point number 3, that aggregate should withstand continuous wear and tear, attrition and rubbing of particles with each other. under wheel loads. For this, Los Angeles abrasion test is carried out, which assesses hardness of aggregate. It means that hardness of aggregate can be checked or can be determined by the Los Angeles abrasion test. Number 4 point is that aggregate should be durable, which means being less likely to degrade in the field and cause permanent pavement failure. Soundness test determines an aggregate's resistance to disintegration by weathering. So this means that for checking the durability of the aggregate, soundness test is there to be used. Coming towards the scope of the aggregate, coming towards the scope of the impact load test, we have aggregate impact value is the relative measure of toughness of aggregate. The impact test is a type of quality control test for highway pavements that is used to determine the suitability of aggregates for use in highway pavement construction. Aggregate impact value gives a relative measure of resistance of aggregate to sudden shock or impact. Toughness is the property of the material to resist impact due to traffic loads. The road stones are subjected to pounding action or impact, and there is a possibility of aggregate stone breaking into smaller pieces. Impact tests are used to evaluate the ability of materials to withstand sudden high force applications of energy, such as we have safety equipment, transport components, we have consumer products, then we have aerospace components, structural components, and sports components. The road aggregate should therefore be tough enough to resist fracture under impact, which may differ from its resistance to gradually applied compressive load. This test is British standard test and is not required under NHS specification. It has been included for learning purposes. The main standard of this test is ASTM D5874-16. This 16 means that it has been published in 2016. Coming towards the procedure of the test. Point number 1, about 350 gram of the aggregate passing 14 mm sieve and retained on 10 mm sieve is selected. Mass is exactly determined as W1. This point has a clear explanation that we have the material. We can take material about 350 gram of aggregate which has to be passed from sieve number 14 millimeter sieve, and it should retain on 10 millimeter sieve, and the material is then selected which passes 14 millimeter sieve and retain on 10 millimeter sieve. Mass is exactly determined as W1. Point number 2 is that sample is oven dried and placed in the impact testing machine cup in 3 layers, each tempered 25 times with tamping rod. This point explains that the sample we have collected should be thoroughly washed, and then it would be oven dried, and then we have to place that sample in the impact testing machine cup which we have discussed earlier in our apparatus section, and then we have to pour or place the aggregate in 3 layers and have to tamp each layer 25 times with the tamping rod so that it would be thoroughly mixed and there would be no air, or there would be less spaces in between those aggregates. Point number 3 is that the sample is subjected to 15 blows with 14 kg hammer falling from 38 centimeter. It is clear from it that when we have taken our sample, then we have to apply 15 blows with the 14 kg hammer, which has to be fallen from 38 centimeter. We have to freely fall the hammer from 38 centimeter. Point number 4, we have aggregate is taken out from the cup and sieve through 2.36 mm, which has a sieve number of 8, sieve number 8, and mass of material passing is determined. This point explains that the aggregate we obtained after 15 blows is taken out from the cup, and then it has to be sieved from the sieve number 8, and mass of the material which passes from the sieve number 8 is determined as W2. We have to take that mass which passes from sieve number 8. Point number 5 is very important. It is a percentage formula which determines the impact value. We have W2 as the weight which passes, or the mass which passes from the sieve number 8 after the blows or after the hammering effect of the hammer on the aggregate, and divided by W1, which is the total mass which we have taken as a sample, into 100, which gives the percentage. Observation and calculations. Calculate the aggregate impact value of the sample expressed to the nearest 1% by mass. Here is a key aspect of this test, because it's a discussion on results. Discuss your results in light of the following information. If we have the impact value less than 10, or we can say that our impact value in percentage is less than 10%, means 5%, 6%, 9%, so it would be exceptionally strong. If we have 10 to 20% impact value, then it would be considered as strong. If we have 20 to 30% impact value, it would be satisfactory for road surfacing. And when we have our impact value greater than 35%, it would be weak for road surfacing. Here we have a more explanatory discussion on results. When we have the impact value, aggregate impact value not more than 30%, it can be used in the wearing course, bituminous surface dressing, penetration macadam, bituminous carpet concrete, cement concrete. When we have the impact value not more than 35%, it can be used in the bitumen bound macadam base course. When we have our impact value not greater or not more than 40%, then it can be used in WBM base course with bitumen surfacing. And at the last, when we have our impact value not more than 45%, cement concrete, it can be used in the cement concrete base course. Thanks for watching.